Whoa there, animation fans! You won't believe what we discovered when comparing Bluey's very first episode to the latest ones in 2025. The differences are absolutely mind-blowing, and some of them were hiding in plain sight this whole time. We're about to dive deep into how this beloved show evolved from simple beginnings into the stunning masterpiece we know today. Get ready, because what we found in the background of Season 1 compared to now will shock you. Part 1. The Foundation Years. Let's kick things off with something that will shock you. Bluey's first season was actually created using a completely different animation pipeline than what we see today. Back in 2018, Ludo Studio was working with Maya for 3D animation, but check this out. When Bluey first hit our screens, the character rigs were strikingly simple compared to today's standards. Each character used basic joint systems that limited their range of movement. The fur shaders were basic too. They didn't interact with the light the way they do now, giving the characters a more static, uniform look. Even the background stayed completely still, lacking the dynamic feel we've come to love in recent seasons. But here's where it gets really interesting. Even with these limitations, the studio did something incredible. They developed a custom cell shading technique that gave Bluey its signature look. This wasn't just any ordinary toon shader. It was specifically designed to create that warm storybook feeling we all love. Take that famous scene in Keepy Uppy where Bluey and Bingo chase the balloon. It's a perfect example of early animation limitations. The balloon floats through the air, but its shadow never quite connects with the characters below. You'll spot completely static background trees while the characters move with noticeably rigid animations. Even the fur and clothing barely move, missing that subtle flutter and bounce we see in newer episodes. But wait until you see how this evolved in later seasons. Part 2. The Digital Revolution. Now, this is where things get absolutely mind-blowing. Starting with Season 3, Ludo Studio completely revolutionized its animation pipeline. And what they did next will shock you. The introduction of real-time rendering, the same technology used in video games, completely transformed Bluey's world. Characters started casting accurate, dynamic shadows while light began bouncing realistically off every surface. Environmental effects like rain and water became stunningly lifelike, and the fur physics received a massive overhaul, making every character's movement more natural than ever before. But here's the crazy part. Remember those 15 base expressions I mentioned earlier? By 2023, each character had access to over 100 unique facial expressions. Just watch the episode Rain from Season 3, and you'll see Bluey display more emotions in 5 minutes than she could in all of Season 1. The biggest game changer was the evolution in frame rate. While Season 1 stuck to the standard animation rate of 24 frames per second, Season 3 pushed it up to 30 frames per second for action scenes. By Season 4, they'd implemented a variable frame rate that could reach an incredible 60 frames per second, making every movement smoother and more lifelike than ever. This means those crazy games of Keepy Uppy and Dance Mode became smoother than ever before. And speaking of smooth, Part 3, the lighting revolution. Get ready, because this next part will blow your mind. The way Ludo Studio handles lighting in 2025 is completely different from how it started. Here's what changed. The lighting system got a complete overhaul from Season 1's simple, flat appearance. Now there's a dynamic time of day system where the sun actually moves across the sky, creating gorgeous sunrise scenes with volumetric lighting. Real-time global illumination brings natural light to every corner, while the advanced shadow system captures details down to individual leaves and blades of grass. But here's what makes this extra special. They didn't just add fancy tech, they used it to tell better stories. The episode Stormy Weather showcases this perfectly, with clouds casting realistic shadows across the yard while lightning effects illuminate entire scenes. Even the smallest details shine through, from rain droplets that reflect and refract light to puddles that perfectly mirror the environment above them. And get this, they even retroactively improved the lighting in some classic episodes. That's right. When you stream certain Season 1 episodes now, you'll see enhanced lighting effects that weren't there before. Part 4. Character Animation Evolution. Now, this is where things get really exciting. The way Bluey and her family move in 2025 is light years ahead of their first appearances. Back in Season 1, Bluey's movements were notably basic. Simple walking cycles, limited tail waggling, basic ear animations, and standard jumping motions made up most of her movement repertoire. Fast forward to 2025, and the difference is stunning. Procedural animation creates incredibly natural movements, while dynamic fur reacts to every step and turn. Her ears now express emotion through subtle movements, and she interacts with objects and characters in complex, physically accurate ways. But wait until you hear this. Ludo Studio developed something they call emotional physics. It's a system that automatically adjusts character movements based on their emotional state. When Bluey's excited, her tail wags faster and her ears perk up higher. When she's sad, her whole body language changes automatically. Part 5. Environmental Detail Explosion. Hold on to your seats because this next part is absolutely incredible. The environments in Bluey have undergone such a massive transformation that you won't believe your eyes. Let's break down what makes 2025's backgrounds so mind-blowing. Remember the simple backyard from Season 1? Now, every blade of grass moves independently, while trees feature thousands of interactive leaves. The creek water flows naturally using real fluid dynamics, and even background characters come alive with their own mini-stories unfolding behind the main action. But here's what makes this extra special. They've created what they call living environments. Birds soar naturally through scenes while insects buzz around flowers, creating a constant sense of motion. Leaves fall from trees, following real-world physics, and the weather system affects every element in the environment. And get this, in the episode Park Life, there are over 1 million individual objects being rendered at once. That's more detail than some Hollywood movies. But wait until you hear about the biggest change, the draw distance. In Season 1, backgrounds would fade into simple shapes about 100 meters away, but in 2025, you can see all the way to the horizon. Every house, every tree, and every detail is fully rendered, no matter how far away it is. Part 6. Software Revolution. Now, this is where things get super technical and incredibly fascinating. Ludo Studio didn't just upgrade their tools, they revolutionized them. Back in 2018, the studio relied on a standard Maya workflow with basic rendering capabilities, limited particle systems, and traditional compositing methods. Fast forward to 2025, and they've developed their own custom Ludo Core animation engine, complete with real-time ray tracing and advanced particle simulation. They've even integrated AI-assisted animation tools to streamline their workflow, taking Bluey's animation to unprecedented levels. But here's the part that will blow your mind. They developed something called Emotive Render. This system automatically adjusts the entire scene based on the emotional tone of the story. During happy scenes, colors become slightly more vibrant and lighting gets warmer. During sad moments, the whole world subtly shifts to reflect the mood. Part 7. The Future of Bluey Animation. Get ready because what's coming next is absolutely mind-bending. Ludo Studio has already teased some incredible new features they're working on for future episodes. They're expanding their interactive environment system to include dynamic weather that affects entire episodes, along with seamless day-night cycles. The system will even include seasonal changes that transform vegetation throughout the year, plus advanced crowd simulation that brings background characters to life like never before. Advanced crowd simulation for background characters. But here's what makes this extra special. They're developing something called memory animation. This system will remember how characters moved in previous episodes and apply that knowledge to create even more consistent and natural animations. And speaking of consistency, they're pushing the boundaries even further with AI-enhanced facial expressions and photorealistic fur simulation. Advanced cloth physics will make every piece of clothing move naturally, while real-time motion capture integration will bring unprecedented realism to character movements. Remember that balloon from Keepy Uppy we talked about earlier? Well, if you watch that episode now, you'll see just how far we've come. Every bounce, every flutter, every shadow is perfectly rendered. But most importantly, it still feels like Bluey. What do you think about these amazing changes? Drop a comment below telling us your favorite animation upgrade. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more incredible animation breakdowns.